Those of you that know salmon fishing understand that it could be hours, it could be days, it could be weeks of trolling around in your boat, hoping that your big flasher and hoochie run over one of these hard-fighting fish. Oh yeah! Fish on!
On that side.
Oh, nice. Good fish, Kobe. Good fish. Sweet. Is it a hatchery? Oh, it is. It's a hatchery. Add a fly rod to the mix, it gets even more challenging. Oh, right there. Whoa, look at this guy go. Holy crap. I grew up salmon fishing with my dad. In fact, we did that every single Saturday. We'd get out the 17-foot Montauk Boston Whaler, find a place that might be hot for salmon fishing, and troll around the entire day waiting for one of those rods to pop off the downrigger. We'd get up before the sun even did. And I have to tell you, even today, it's tough to get up that early. But when it comes to salmon fishing, you want to get out there early. And a lot of times you're getting up earlier than you did for work. But there's something special about being on the water as the sun is coming up. I've seen some just amazing sunrises from the Puget Sound from a boat because I rallied and got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So even though it's kind of tough at times, the reward that you get on the Puget Sound is pretty amazing. Fishing from the beach with a fly rod, it's less about what time you get out there and more about hitting the tides correctly. You want to have moving water, and you want to target a beach that has a pretty steep slope. With fly casting, you're casting about a third of the way out than some of the spin casters that are on the beach. You can see their buzz bomb hit the water some 100 yards away. And if you're lucky with a fly rod, you might reach 100 to 110 feet away. So having a steep sloping beach is important if you're going to better your odds in getting a salmon from the beach. That, and you want to make sure you have moving current. Whether the tide's coming in or whether the tide's going out, it's super important to have moving current when you're fishing from the beach. If you're in an area that just has stagnant water, it's going to be a lot tougher. Salmon are just far more active in places with current. Typically, I'm using an 8-weight fly rod. You want something a little bit bigger, a little more stout to be able to play these salmon. Even though I did recently, my 8-weight wasn't ready yet. So I thought, I'm going to pull out the 5-weight and see what happens. And I got into some pink salmon. It was so much fun on a 5-weight. But anything bigger would have just tore that fly rod up. It would have been really tough to land. But I had a great day on the Puget Sound using my 5-weight for these 5-pound pinks. Fast forward a few weeks, we're now targeting coho. Coho notoriously can just rip off some line. It is so much fun to have them just tear line off the fly rod. So much fun. And I was fortunate enough to get into 2 strong coho this year. It's so much fun on a fly rod. Do you see that line rip? Oh, strong. Oh yeah, this is definitely a bigger fish. I need to tighten my drag, but I don't want to let him loose at all. Feisty fish, holy smokes. This has got to be a silver. Oh, I missed him. Yeah, I missed him again. Got him. Oh my God. Yeah, silver. What a great fish. That was fun. The second coho that I landed didn't fight as hard as the first, but it's still a thrill to catch a salmon, something that big, standing on a beach with a fly rod. and to the envy of all the spin casters that were around me that weren't catching fish. It just gave me a little extra satisfaction.
Sweet. Fish on.
So the gear that you're going to need if you're going to target salmon from the beach, I would recommend at least getting an 8-weight fly rod. You're going to want to have a large arbor reel. It just helps retrieve that line back a lot faster than something smaller. Typically, unless you're fishing poppers, you want to have an intermediate line. You want to be just below the surface, and a lot of times you don't want the waves to influence the fly as well. Intermediate will sink below the wave level, so if you have kind of a rougher day out there, it's not going to influence the fly as much as it would if you're using floating line. Typically, I'm using flies that are colorful and a lot of marabou and a lot of crystal flash. You want to be able to entice the fish to bite. You want to give them a reason to come after your fly. So I experiment with different things. One day it was just a fly I picked up at the Gig Harbor Fly Shop. It basically just looks like a very bright candlefish with a trailing hook at the end of about a 2-inch piece of dacron. And that was lights out for both pink salmon, and I had a strong coho pick it up one night. The other fly that I used for coho was the big Dalai Lama. And we're talking about the biggest pattern they have, weighted, pink and purple with lots of tinsel. Now, even though that's far more challenging to cast, and that's why you want to have a heavier fly rod, the reward can be just a thrill. So if you're going to try beach fishing for yourself, I'd recommend getting a pair of wading pants. It's great to be able to get out just a little bit into the surf, especially when you land a fish, and it keeps you dry. Other than that, it's a lot of casting and a lot of patience. But just like this year, it can happen for you as it happened for me.
Fish on. Woo.